What is up, everybody? Jester here, and today I'm at the Space Anomaly. Why? Because we just finished up Expedition 16, The Cursed. Brand new today, October 23rd, 2024, from Hello Games. This release and update has been extremely highly anticipated because in the last update, Aquarius, a lot of stuff was added, but there wasn't a whole lot of replayable substance to it. And I think a lot of people had been done with that content for weeks now, so people are very excited to get into something new, and that's exactly what we got here. I'm going to tell you guys the tips and tricks I think you might do to make your run even smoother than mine was, and maybe even some of the pitfalls that this has, because there are some that I think they need to address. We got a lot to talk about, so let's get into it. As mentioned, Expedition 16, The Cursed did drop today, October 23rd, 2024, for No Man's Sky. And I'm not going to go through all the rewards and all the different things because that's not what's important to me. I'm going to come back and do a comprehensive review of everything that they put out today. Eventually, but I do want to point out one thing from the notes here, and that is the Cursed Expedition begins today and will run for approximately 2 weeks. So we've probably got about, it's probably going to run through till the next Sunday, so I would imagine it's about 16 or 17 days that we're going to have to get this done. That's why I wanted to put out this video as quickly as I could with good information so you guys can get through this without having to worry about pressing for time. As with all expeditions these days, you're allowed to bring certain items to use on the expedition with you, and my list looked like this. I brought unobtainium, which ended up being one of the phase challenges, so that was a really good thing to bring, as was the atlantidium. Definitely bring a stack of that because it's very useful. Most of the other stuff wasn't. The radiant shards, the inverted mirrors, the echolocators were all completely unnecessary, as were the cadmium, emerald, and indium. And what I really wish I'd have brought was 3 other things. And I think if you guys bring these 3 things, you're going to be in excellent shape. Usually when you're setting up a loadout for one of these expeditions, you think about the basics, you know, your life support for your exosuit and your shielding for your ship and all the things you're going to need to do the basic things. So, you know, oxygen, carbon, uranium, pyrite, sodium, and most of that stays true in this one, except for sodium kind of gets replaced because of the elixir of glass. This actually replaces your hazard protection. So you're going to want to make sure to have plenty of dihydrogen. The shattered qualia, if that's how it's pronounced, is actually going to be gained when you kill these creatures that are coming out of the ground, these horrors beyond, if you will. And what I thought was going on was there was a timer when you got on the planet, these things would just start attacking you. Truth of the matter is I just wasn't paying close enough attention and I let my meter get all the way down, kind of like my hazard protection was down, and they were starting to attack me because there was less of a boundary between the realities, so to speak. So just make sure that you're paying attention to that. You shouldn't have too many problems out of them if you keep that bar up. In the beginning, it's a little bit tougher than it becomes later, obviously, but you are going to have to kill 64 of those things for one of the phase requirements. And there's another challenge for 16, which is directly linked to the 64. So at some point, you're going to want to make sure that you have plenty of room where they're not going to be fighting back. So get yourself plenty of elixirs of glass. The elixir of quicksilver, however, needs chromatic metal, and this is the one that you drink in order to find the next portal. And what I found was it was probably been a better idea to just go ahead and bring chromatic metal over the copper in this particular situation. So that's going to be the first one that I kind of wish I replaced, but it wasn't that big a deal having to do it with copper. It just took longer. But if you bring chromatic metal, you'll be better off faster. As well as if you wanted to, you could bring some pure ferrite, because you are going to need quite a bit of this as well. I think you got to craft 5 or 6 of these, so it's not a ton, but you want to bring a couple hundred or bring plenty of ferrite dust so you can make the pure ferrite. The other 2 things you're going to need are silver and then gold. So definitely make sure those are on your list. The other 2, other than chromatic metal, that I wasn't really planning on bringing because nobody really carries these around on a regular basis, is actually what it requires to make the first thing you need to power up the first portal, and that's mortite and pugnium. And again, you don't really carry these things around that much. You gather them sometimes, like when you're out, maybe you've killed a few animals, you get the mortite, or you just got in a fight with regular sentinels and you get the pugnium, but you don't really think about bringing them. And so that's why I would much rather bring mortite, pugnium, and chromatic metal on this particular expedition than I would bring indium, emerald, or cadmium. So you can directly replace all 3 of those, but definitely be sure to bring gold and silver because that's going to be needed. And there are a few other things too that were needed here. A good example, the atlantidium. I told you I brought it kind of on a flyer and it did end up paying off. And the shattered qualia, like I said, it'll come with time. just know that you're going to have to kill some of these guys, and it will accumulate, so you can also just attack them and leave. They don't chase you like the Sentinels do, which is kind of nice. Okay, listening to that last part back, I want to clarify on this. What I'm saying is when you go and get in your ship and your bar is obviously starting to head down, they're going to continue to attack you. Even inside your ship, you're going to take damage. But you can get in the ship and fly away, and they don't have the thing that the Sentinels do where now all of a sudden the air support's triggered versus the ground forces. It doesn't work that way. Now, unless you get your bar back up, they're going to find you as soon as you land. So there's some risk if you want to run around without that. And these guys hit harder than you think they do. Looking into the phase 1 milestones, I'm not going to spend a ton of time on these because honestly, as fast as you want to get through this is as fast as you want to put your nose down into the grindstone and get it done. Because you do not have access to the stuff that you brought with you on the expedition until the beginning of phase 2 at Rendezvous 1, which means you've got to get all the way to the end of this phase before you get there. So just know that you're going to want to be ready for metal plating. You're going to want to be ready for hermetic seals. Just all the little things. You are going to need to kill a sentinel, so if you see one, kill him. If you're going to need some mordite as well, so if you see an animal, go ahead and shoot them. The funny part is when it came to the Banished Horrors, I didn't feel like it was all that bad. Like, even with the boltcaster and just the multi-tool they gave me, I didn't feel like I had all that much trouble. We took some hits, but all in all, it wasn't a horrible experience. As far as phase 2 goes, I might have even had the Edge of Glass milestone before we came out of phase 1, because we ran around with our protections down constantly. Because, you know, resources are tough in the beginning, and I wasn't really figuring it out at that point. Again, I still thought it might still be on a timer at that point of when I was playing. I didn't figure it out until a little bit later that that's kind of how it worked, and it needed to be pretty high. Like, even at halfway, they started attacking us. So we got that one pretty quick. When it came to the next 3 milestones, we got them all on this planet. It's in the phase 2 system where the Rendezvous 1 is at. We were able to get the fossils, get the storm crystals, and then I just tunneled my way back to the ship. And then it was done. Phase 2 was pretty much over. Phase 3 is where I think most folks are going to start to get a little bit frustrated with a couple of things, and I think at least one of them is going to get looked at. But the well-grounded achievement here, or milestone, is just walking around 8,000 U. It's going to happen regardless as you're kind of doing all of these things. Don't put too much stress on that. There's no tip or trick for it. Serenity Reclaimed is literally looking up at the stars for 60 seconds in a dark place. So just make sure your bar's up so you're not getting that spinning day-night cycle, which is super annoying. We'll cover that in another video, but this one's really, really easy. The problem comes in with Endless Hunger, which is eliminating 8 hungering tendrils, and in Wine Dark Seas, catching 4 anomalous fish. Well, Endless Hunger, the planet for that is in this system, but it comes with its own problem, and in Wine Dark Seas, you're going to have to go looking elsewhere, back to phase 1 to find it. Let's start with Endless Hunger. I do want to mention again that this is in the phase 3 system, and you will know you are in the correct system because this one doesn't have a space station. It's not a claimed by any of the races type of system. And that presents a whole nother challenge that I'll talk about here in a second. But the planet you're going to be looking for to get this one done is going to be the infested planet Wisbur 15. It's weird because when you land on this planet, at least when I did, I got a visual bug that kept telling me planet's not detected, planet's not detected, but it's telling you to go to an infested planet, and it's literally an infested planet. I did end up finding it here, so if this happens to you, don't be discouraged, but this is the planet you're looking for to get those nasty tendrils. To catch the 4 anomalous fish you need for in Wine Dark Seas, you need to go to the Wine Dark planet that you started on in phase 1. So just know that that's kind of a devil in the detail kind of name. But before I left this system, I did have a couple other things in phase 4 that we could actually check out. One was in deep water, where you just have to float 50 U from the bottom, so deep water, for 60 seconds, super easy. And we also picked up our hypnotic eyes from here and just got those knocked out. It took a few minutes, but no big deal. From there, we were going back to phase 3, and we're going to be going after genetic glitch and arachnophobia. To finish out our phase 4 for all intents and purposes other than going through the portal, in phase 3, there is a planet called Terum 95/E1, a frozen anomaly that is dissonant. And look, there's, again, no real tips or tricks to this. Go down there, pick a fight. If you brought your tainted metal and you have your multi-tool, this shouldn't be a really big problem. If you don't, take it kind of slow, but eventually you'll be able to kill these guys. You only need 8 of them, and they do show up fairly quickly. One thing I probably should have showed you that I did before I actually left to go fishing, so this is kind of a little bit out of order, but in this phase 3 system, I put down a base computer. Because this system doesn't have a station, you kind of have to do a workaround, which is we're going to be using the anomaly and that base computer to get us back and forth to this system. So if in the future, in phase 5 or whatever, we need to go there, it won't be a problem. But now we can just go straight up the anomaly and use its portal to get wherever we want. And then when we have a working portal in any other system, we can teleport straight back to our base computer without even needing a teleporter. And I thought that was kind of a neat workaround. Once we finally got to phase 5, I realized that 2 of the 3 main tasks we had left before we really hit the end game to the expedition were already done. The first of which is the ink-drenched skies, because we'd already taken care of 64 of these boundary creatures while we were farming the resources to make the different elixirs. And since we had already brought our tainted metal, we'd already earned over 4,200 nanites. And don't forget, bringing tainted metal, you also get the salvage tainted metal here in metal bones, where you don't have to go do a derelict freighter. But the one thing that kind of surprised me was the stone ghost. Discover 2 lost relics, because clearly this looks like one of those structures that you would need to go out and you need to find the outlying keys that were in the little boxes and then go get the big box in the middle once you had enough. But this wasn't even close to how it worked. My original plan to tackle this was going to be to exchange navigational data for specific alien cartography maps, and that did work where I got 1 out of the way, but then it kept taking me to monoliths that weren't working. So I decided to just do a little random fly around and find these smaller ones and or the ancient relics, but it turns out these small ones are what we're looking for, because that was the first one that I got on the maps, and then I didn't get any for like 9. So then I just flew around, found this one, and this is actually going to satisfy that milestone where you get your second one. So to save yourself some time, fly around and get these. It's a whole lot easier than trying to deal with maps and stuff. As far as the final 4 milestones, I'm going to give you guys a verbal spoiler alert, all right? Because I'm just going to tell you kind of what's going on here. You need to craft another elixir to get through the final portal, and then you go find a grave site where you get to talk to a dead guy. And then you craft water out of altidinium only. And then they tell you not to drink the water. Please don't drink the water. Don't do it. Don't do it. Well, hang on. Then they make you drink it, so you do the final fight. And the final boss is pretty cool. Great design. I'm not going to spoil that for you visually, but just be ready. That the fight had quite a bit of HP. It was one of the tougher fights I'd been in. But then again, I did just downgrade my multi-tool a little bit. Not a whole lot, but a little bit. And maybe that did play into something for it as to the way it felt for me. Hopefully this information is going to help some of you get through this expedition a little bit quicker so you can get to that new starship if you want it, or the new trail, or whatever the cosmetic stuff that they put in here might be as far as rewards go. But just remember, you are on a very limited time here. Now, it's pretty likely that they said about 2 weeks, and that means from this Wednesday it would wrap around to the next Sunday like it usually does. But we don't know that for sure. They could cut the cord at 14 days. So just get out there and get this done. Hopefully this will help you get it done quicker. If you like this kind of stuff, please like the video and subscribe to the channel, because these are the videos I really do like to make. And the next one, I think we're going to take a good comprehensive look at this entire expedition as a whole, and some good things and some bad things, and just an honest review of what I think the cursed update actually is. And I think it's hilarious that we have to call it the cursed update. So until next time, guys, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you soon. Bye.